Hello again. This is the reflection portion of the video. I'm going to go through and talk about some of the information that was gathered during our meeting, which I thought was some very good information overall. I thought the panel that I had assembled did a nice job. Again, I had a kindergarten teacher, a kindergarten first grade teacher, two third grade teachers, a music special area teacher. I myself am a special area teacher. I had someone from food service. I thought it was a well-rounded group to discuss the questions that I had brought forward today. And so reviewing, we met in the library of our building. Our building is Salina Elementary School. It's a K through 3 building. There's about 500 kids during the school year. It's still summer break, but they have summer school in our building, and so we met right after summer school. Again, there were the 6 or 7 of us that met. I guess it'd be 6 of us that met to discuss the questions that I had brought forward. You can't see it here, but it's a rainy, miserable day outside, so I really appreciate the fact that these teachers stayed or drove in, like Eric did, the music teacher, to help me out. My feelings for the meeting, I didn't really have a whole lot of feelings. I wasn't sure when I created the questions and I showed them to my administrator. All along, she has been very much the person to push me to, kind of try things myself and learn by failure if I need to. So I created the questions and I showed them to her, and she said she thought that it was a good list of questions and it would be viable for a roundtable discussion. Obviously, I haven't done this before, so I don't know. I passed out the guiding questions on a sheet that looks just like that. I passed out those questions to everybody that was there, and to a person, they all said that they thought they were very good questions and in depth and would cover a lot of things that would be beneficial to us down the road. So I was very pleased about that. As far as what I was thinking, I always wonder if there's enough information to fill an amount of time that we have. That's true not only in professional development when I run lifeguard or CPR trainings, but it's also true in teaching, is if there's enough information to fill a 45-minute block. I thought the same thing here. I didn't know if these 7 questions were enough to fill 30 minutes, and as it turns out, we could have talked all day. So I was very pleased with that as well. My evaluation as to how things went, I was extremely pleased. I was very happy with how things went, and the information that we gathered not only is helpful to me, but I think was helpful to everyone else that we spoke with today. I think everybody got a general sense of where everybody else stands on issues and topics, and we'll take those, combine them, and I'll take them to my administrator, and maybe we can move forward and and make professional development meaningful and relevant and something that people don't dread. Whereas I think that that's often the case. What I thought was good about it was the way that it was really a conversation. I led the discussion. I asked more questions. I was inquisitive, but I was happy that everybody gave input. Every single person there spoke on an issue that they were the experts in. I'm not an expert in many of the classroom things, so to get their insight was invaluable. I was very happy with the way that each question was thoroughly answered, and then many times there were offshoots that answered other questions. And in the video you can see a couple questions in the middle or toward the end. I actually said that they were answered in a discussion from an earlier question, which I didn't really think were related, but I was pleased with how the conversations evolved and how we led from one situation or issue to another. By guiding them and asking them more questions, I was very pleased with how that worked, and I was happy with my ability to continue the conversation and go from one topic to the next. One thing I would try to improve upon would be if I do this again or when I do this again. I had a couple people in that meeting that were SIP experts and the STEAM experts, and a lot of times the discussion really gravitated to them. Knowing that the STEAM Expo question was going to be for one in particular, and I actually said in that video that she was going to be the expert. But sometimes the experts sort of take over and answer everything where others may have information to put forth, and they did today. But I could see where that would be an issue where you may try to limit a little bit of time for the experts if it's going to be a roundtable discussion. If they're providing all the information or they're the ones presenting, obviously they can have as long as they need. But in a situation like this, you want conversation from everyone. I need to be cognizant of that. What sense can I make of the situation? I think the situation is not what I expected when I did it. I expected that I would be the one, and probably Eric, the music teacher, that didn't really care for professional development because it wasn't relevant. In the end, when we all spoke and we all talked about what we can do for professional development to make our school better, to help our kids, it became very clear to me that, like we've learned in class, nobody likes professional development that's not relevant. Nobody wants to sit through a meeting that doesn't pertain to them. Nobody wants to go learn about something that when they walk out the door they're never going to use. I learned it in class. I know for myself, but it's much more eye-opening when you sit down and discuss it with colleagues that they say the same thing. I always sort of felt that I was alone in my disdain for professional development because it rarely applies to me, whereas I think I'm in the norm now, and that was very surprising, and I'm very, very pleased about that. In conclusion, the things that we came up with that we want to take to our administrator really are simple, and it's the same things that we learned in EDLD 5345, is that we want teacher-driven professional development. We want teacher-driven professional development that's relevant to us as teachers, and not building-wide, but grade level wide. In the video, you can hear a couple of the teachers speaking about math at the grade level and literacy at the grade level. I think that's critical, and if we can do that, we're going to get a higher level of teacher buy-in. And if we get teacher buy-in in this professional development, it's going to be successful, and that's what we're looking for. So we want our teachers involved. We want our teachers to buy in, and if we can provide grade level professional development that really focuses on them and what they're teaching and what they need, that's going to benefit everyone. From kindergarten to third grade to special area, it doesn't matter. Everybody is going to get something specifically tailored to them. I think that's fantastic. So we're going to take that to our administrator next week and see if we can we use some PLC time throughout the upcoming school year and really do this and provide this to our staff. As I said earlier about an action plan and what would I do if I had this opportunity again, other than trying to make sure that the conversation goes to everyone, I thought my questions were really good, and I was very pleased with my questions. If I did it again, excuse me, I would have some more questions and I would make it longer. 30 minutes, as it turns out, is hard to answer a bunch of questions when you have a bunch of experts in the field. 30 minutes isn't very long, so I try to go through this and do it and judge what I think will be 30 minutes, and in the matter of what seems like seconds, we're already there. So if I do this in the future and I have a roundtable discussion of issues